I found out I was no longer hosting my mother's retirement dinner when I saw my own invitation in the mail. It came in a thick cream envelope with a wax seal, the kind that made my kitchen table look cheap under apple juice my youngest had spilled minutes earlier. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and read it twice. Celebrating Evelyn Hart's 34 years of music and service. Hosted by Marina Vale. My name was nowhere. Not under family. Not under thanks. Behind me, my fridge calendar still had yellow notes lined up. Call florist. Confirm menu. Scan old photos. Juice reached my elbow while I stared at that stranger's name, wondering who had erased me and whether my mother had let them. My mother taught music in the same public school district for 34 years, which meant half our town had once stood beside her piano with sweaty hands, trying to remember songs about spring. When she retired, she asked for nothing. No fuss, she told me in March, folding grocery bags into neat triangles at my kitchen counter. Maybe coffee with Tess. Maybe not even that. That was Mom. She could guide 60 middle schoolers through a winter concert without fear. But if anyone tried to celebrate her, she looked guilty, like she had taken extra napkins. So I decided for her. Nothing grand. No ballroom. No centerpiece taller than my children. Just dinner at Bellini's, the little Italian place by the harbor where she ordered eggplant parmesan and pretended she did not want dessert until the waiter brought 2 spoons. I reserved the back room because it had brick walls, warm lights, and room for her old co-workers, a few cousins, my husband, our kids, and my brother. I kept everything in a shoebox under my desk. Deposit receipt, menu choices, names to call, photos I had started scanning from her classroom albums. Mom in a purple sweater beside second graders holding recorders. Mom laughing at a piano bench with chalk dust on her sleeve. Mom younger than I was now, smiling like life had not yet asked too much of her. My brother, Nolan, answered every planning text like he was on another planet. Whatever Mom wants. Sounds good. Let me know cost. He had always been easygoing, but lately easygoing had become absent. He was dating Sloane Mercer, whose family name was on half the new condos along the waterfront. Since then, he wore linen shirts to Sunday lunch and said things like the club without meaning a sandwich. I tried not to resent it. People change when they fall in love. They borrow each other's worlds. Still, when I sent him Bellini's menu and asked whether chicken marsala or sem unsuited Mom better, he replied 3 hours later, either. Marina may have thoughts too. I stared at that name. Marina was Sloane's friend, or cousin, or some polished person always close in photos. I had met her once at a fundraiser, where she kissed the air near my cheek and called my family sweet without looking down. I typed, "Why would Marina have thoughts?" then deleted it. Instead, I wrote, "Sure, send her my number if she wants to help." I meant flowers. Maybe place cards. I did not mean my mother. The first group chat had names so plain it feels sad now. Mom dinner ideas. I made it Tuesday night while my husband scrubbed spaghetti sauce from pan and our oldest read spelling words to dog. I added Nolan, Tess, Aunt Lydia, cousin June, and 2 of Mom's old teaching friends whose numbers I found on Christmas card envelopes. Then Nolan added Marina. Before I could ask why, he wrote, "Sloane's family wants to send love to. Marina can help if needed." Help with what? I had no idea. But Mom raised me to write thank you notes for grocery store flowers. So I swallowed first response. "Great," I typed. "Welcome, Marina." She answered with one white heart. That was all. For 2 days. Everyone else acted normal. Tess voted for eggplant parmesan and anything with lemon. Aunt Lydia asked about parking. June sent 3 blurry photos from Mom's 25th year teaching and said bad lighting made everyone look historical. Marina said nothing. On Thursday, I made a Google sheet during lunch. Guest names, phone numbers, RSVP, meal choice, budget, deposit paid. I highlighted cell soft yellow because it made whole plan feel less terrifying. Like order could protect something tender. That evening, we had quick Zoom call, or it was supposed to be quick. Tess joined first, Her great at walking across camera I paid consulted. Aunt Lydia stayed muted for 10 minutes, mouthing, "Can you hear me?" Nolan appeared from restaurant patio, face shiny in blue light, attention drifting somewhere past screen. Marina joined 17 minutes late. No apology, no breathless excuse. Her camera blinked on. And there she was in cream blouse, hair smooth, sitting in quiet room with one framed abstract painting behind her. She looked less like someone joining family call and more like someone observing meeting she might later brief to someone richer. "Hi, everyone," she said softly. "Please keep going." So we did. I talked through menu. Tess suggested memory table. Nolan nodded while looking off screen. When I mentioned Mom hated being center of attention, Marina tilted her head and wrote something down. Not typed. Wrote. On paper. Pen scratch was tiny, but I heard it whenever rest of us went quiet. "What are you thinking, Marina?" I asked. She smiled. "Nothing yet," she said. "I'm just getting a sense of Evelyn." By Friday, I had paid Bellin his deposit with grocery money I planned to replace after my next paycheck. Receipts had folded in my wallet, warm from my body, proof I had not imagined my own effort. At night, after kids slept and dishwasher hummed, I sat at my desk with a flash drive in my laptop, naming scanned photos by year. Mom wearing paper sunflower crown. Mom conducting fifth graders with one hand while holding broken music stand with other. Mom at field day, sneakers muddy, laughing at something outside frame. I called former students one by one. "This is Clara Hart," I said. "Evelyn's daughter." Some remembered her voice before they remembered mine. One man, now firefighter, went quiet when I asked if he might send short video message. "Mrs. Hart taught me to breathe before I panicked," he said. "I still do it." I wrote that on yellow patent, cried into my sleeve. Not sadly, more like something in me had been confirmed. That was why I was doing it. Not for credit. Not for perfect dinner. For a woman who spent third eye for years making nervous children feel like their small voices mattered. Then Sunday, Mom came over with grocery store pastries and lip. "Your foot okay?" I asked. "Oh, these shoes hate me," she said, sliding them off with smile too bright. Her heel was red where leather had rubbed. She sat at kitchen able and pressed two fingers to back of her ankle. "Where were you walking so much?" She looked at pastries as if they might answer. "Downtown," she said. "Little Arts District." I hadn't been in ages. "With Tess?" No. She stirred cream into coffee, though she took it black. "With Marina." Spoon-tapped mug. I kept my face still. "Marina?" She was kind, Mom said quickly. Nolan said she wanted to show me something. Private gallery above old customs building. You would believe windows. Clara. Whole harbor right there. My hand tightened around coffee pot. "She took you to look at gallery." "Well, not look. Exactly." She said it could be lovely for small gathering. Not too much fuss. Elegant, but simple. Elegant, but simple. I heard Marina's quiet voice from Zoom. Her careful question about getting sense of Evelyn. Mom picked at pastry box. "Don't be upset." "I'm not upset." "Too fast." She said you were already doing so much. Mom whispered. That was why she wanted to help. Help with what? Slideshow. Maybe. Music. Former students. If anyone had time. She said you had such beautiful ideas. My throat went cold. My ideas. Upstairs. Flash doctor still sat in laptop. In my purse. Bellin is receipt weighted like tiny. Foolish contract with reality. Mom? I said carefully. Did she say Bellin was changing? Mom's eyes widened. No. Nolan said nothing was final. Nothing was final. I had confirmed menu counts that morning. Left Aunt Lydia voicemail about parking. Spent Tuesday cropping old photo of Mom beside boy with red glasses. Because he had grown up to be town Aniston wanted to speak. Mom rubbed sore heel under table. Small embarrassed motion. She kept saying I deserved something beautiful. Mom said, I didn't want to be rude. That was Mom's weakness. courtesy so deep it became surrender. I set coffee pot down before my hand could shake. Outside, kids' bike sleigh tipped in driveway. One wheel turning in wind. Inside, Mom picked flakes from napkin and would not meet my eyes. For first time, I understood Marina was not joining my plan. She was walking around it, carrying pieces of it in smooth, quiet hands. I waited until kids were asleep before I called Marina. That sounds calmer than it was. I had been staring at her contact for an hour while washer thumped behind me. One of my son's striped shirts strapped in rubber or seal like it was waving for help. Phone rang 6 times. No answer. For a few seconds, I listened to dead space where voicemail should have been. Then call ended. I stood barefoot on cold laundry room tile. Phone pressed hard into my palm. I wanted to call Nolan and ask what game he was playing. I wanted to call Tess and let her be angry first. Instead, I breathed like Mom taught nervous 3rd graders before concerts. In through nose. Out through mouth. Start before piano. Then I texted Marina. Hi Marina. It's Claire. I heard you took Mom to see a gallery space. I'm glad people want to celebrate her, but I'm confused about what's happening. I've already booked Belle and isn't started coordinating guests. Can we talk about roles so Mom doesn't get overwhelmed? I read it 3 times. I deleted behind my back, because it sounded true and therefore dangerous. Then I sent it. 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Washer knocked again. I opened it, freed shirt, and water ran down my wrist. Laundry smelled like lavender detergent and little boy sweat. Ordinary life kept happening while something polished and mean moved through my family. Dots again. Gone again. My husband leaned into doorway with toothbrush in hand. You okay? No, I said, but am being polite. He looked at my phone, then my face. Want me to stay? I shook my head. Marina's reply came 9 minutes later. Claire, thank you for reaching out. I completely understand your concern. Evelyn is extraordinary, and I think she deserves something more meaningful than a standard restaurant dinner. Please don't worry about cost. I'm happy to take care of everything. You should be able to enjoy your mother that evening. Not work. Nothing in it was openly cruel. That was why my face burned. A standard restaurant dinner. Beelin is, where Mom took me after my first tiny teaching award. Where owners still asked about her choir concerts. Where she could order lemon chicken without pretending to know which fork belonged where. I typed, then deleted. The dinner was chosen because Mom loves it. I'm not worried about cost. You don't know her. Phone lit again. Also, please know I would never want to step on your toes. Nolan mentioned you have a lot on your plate. This is meant to be a gift to everyone. A gift. My eyes stung. Not because Marina had money, or gallery keys, or cream stationery. Because she had found softest bruise and pressed gently. You have a lot on your plate. As if love counted less when folded between permission slips. Laundry, work emails, and school lunches. I wrote back. I appreciate the offer. But I need to be clear, Mom asked me to plan this. And I've already made commitments. Please don't make changes without speaking to me first. No dots came. I moved clothes into dryer, shook out pajama pants, peeled sticker from one pocket. My hands did chores while my mind stood in that gallery, watching Marina guide my mother through bright rooms like I had never existed. At 10:41. Marina replied, of course. I'll loop you and we're helpful. We're helpful. I set phone face down on washer. Then I picked up my son's rescued shirt and folded it with more care than any child's shirt needed. Because if I did not hold something small and real, I was afraid I would call her back and say every ugly sentence Mom had raised me not to say. Upstairs, Mom was probably asleep, thinking everyone was being kind. Downstairs, in blue detergent light, I understood something worse than open conflict had begun. I was being erased politely. In morning, I did what I told myself grown women did. I updated group chat. Since Marina has started coordinating venue details, I wrote, I'll step back so nothing gets duplicated. Please send questions to her. I stared at message until screen dimmed. Then hit send. For 12 seconds, nothing happened. Then test call. I let it ring while rinsing oatmeal from my daughter's bowl. One raisin clung to side like tiny brown eye. When I answered, test skipped to low. Who is Marina? I closed my eyes. She's connected to Nolan's girlfriend's family. That is not answer. Tess. No. Your mother taught beside me for 22 years. I know when someone is being politely moved out of her own chair. My face burned. I don't want drama. It became drama when someone put her name on your invitation. Down hall. Mom's bedroom door stayed closed. Morning light made thin gold line under it. Tess. Please don't call her. Give me number. I'm not giving you number so you can start fight. I'm ending confusion. I should have refused. Instead, tiredness made me weak, and anger made me honest. I gave it to her. All day, my phone sat on desk like it was breathing. At 2:13, Marina texted. I'm sorry Tess felt need to confront me. I am trying to make this beautiful, not competitive. Competitive. Word landed so neatly it almost sounded fair. At 2:18, Nolan called. I took it in pantry because kids were doing homework at kitchen table and Mom was asleep on sofa. Old courtroom show murmuring beside her. What did you do? He said. No, hello? You gave Tess her number. She asked. She upset Mom. My stomach dropped. Mom knows? She heard there was argument. Now she thinks everyone is mad because she liked gallery. I pressed palm to shelf. Cereal boxes crackled behind my wrist. I never said that. You don't have to say things. Clara, you make people feel them. For 1 second, I was 12 again. Listening to Nolan explain broken lamp was not his fault because I had looked at him mean first. She went behind me. I said. She tried to help. She put herself on invitation. She offered to pay for place Mom loved. Mom loved Bellini's. Mom loved not watching you calculate every salad and chair. Silence snapped tight. Through pantry crack, I saw Mom's hand slide off sofa cushion. Bandage on her heel looked stark against dark sock. Nolan lowered his voice. Can you not make this about being replaced? I laughed once. Small, ugly. I thought I was planning dinner for our mother. She cried. Clara. That stopped me. Not because I fully believed him. Because part of me did. Somehow, story had turned while I stood still inside it. Marina was generous. Nolan was reasonable. Tess was aggressive. I was bitter daughter with spreadsheet and wounded pride. I ended call before my voice broke. From sofa, Mom shifted and whispered in sleep. Practice from beginning. Old teacher words. I stood in pantry with hand on cereal shelf and felt first real shame of week. Not because I was wrong. Because I had given them enough to make me look wrong. By morning, my shame had hardened into something cleaner. I drove to the coast, a Larts club with Mom's retirement folder on the passenger seat and a coffee I never drank. The building sat above the harbor with white columns and glass doors. The kind of place where people lowered their voices before lying. Marina stood inside beside a table of linen samples. Calming camel pants and gold earrings. Claire, she said, like we had planned lunch. I held up the cream invitation. Why does this say you're hosting my mother's retirement dinner? Her eyes flicked to the card, then to the woman with the clipboard. Could you give us a minute? When we were alone, she folded her hands. I thought Nolan explained. He said you were helping. Helping is not putting your name where mine was supposed to be. It wasn't meant to erase you, but it did. For 1 second, her polished smile slipped. Your mother was worried about expense, she said. She said you've been stretched thin. My mother worries if someone uses too many paper towels. I know. She's very sweet. Sweet. Like Mom was a little dish of mints on someone else's table. I stepped closer. She is not a project. Marina's mouth tightened. No one thinks that. Then why did you bring her here without telling me? Why did you call vendors? Why did you send invitations? Because the restaurant plan was limited. There it was. Not loud. Worse. Honest. Limited for who? Claire. She spent third eye for years giving music to other people's children. A back room at an Italian restaurant didn't feel like enough. It felt like her. Marina looked toward the windows, where gray water shifted under morning fog. She cried when she saw this room. She told me no one had ever done anything elegant in her honor. My answer caught. I saw Mom in the school auditorium, stacking chairs after concerts in her skirt suit. Saw her holding carnations from students like rare orchids. Saw her saying, "Don't make a fuss, honey," while saving every program in a shoebox. For one terrible second, I wondered if Marina had seen something I missed. Then I looked at the invitation again. Host Marina Vale. "No," I said quietly. "You don't get to use my mother's humility as an opening. That isn't what I'm doing." "It is. You walked into my family, found the woman least likely to object, and built something around her before anyone could say no." Her cheeks colored. "I was trying to make it beautiful." "For who?" She did not answer fast enough. I put my folder on the linen table. Receipts. Old photos. Student names. Mom's favorite songs. Notes in my messy handwriting. It looked cheap under the chandelier. "This is what I had," I said. "Not because I'm small. Because I know her." Marina touched one photo. Mom at 28. Conducting children in paper antlers. Mouth open mid-count. "She looks happy," Marina said. "She was exhausted," I said. "And happy." My voice cracked. I hated that too. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. I wanted her to apologize so completely the week rewound. I wanted Nolan ashamed. I wanted Mom never to know. Instead, I picked up the invitation. "I want my name off nothing. I want no more decisions without me. And I want you to stop making my ordinary love look like something my mother needed rescuing from." Marina's eyes shone, but she did not cry. "I never said that. You didn't have to." I left before she could soften me. In the parking lot, my hands shook so hard I dropped my keys under the car. When I crouched, I saw dried mud on my shoe from our yard, where my son had left his toy dump truck in rain. That small ugly smear almost undid me. I was not elegant. I was tired. I forgot birthdays until calendar alerts saved me. But I knew my mother's favorite song began with a rest, and I was done being treated like silence. When I got home, Mom was awake at the kitchen table, peeling a clementine with slow, careful fingers. Rain tapped the window over the sink. My daughter's math worksheets at under Mom's elbow. Eraser crumbs scattered across the table like salt. Mom looked at my face and stopped. "You went there," she said. "Yes." Her mouth tightened, not with anger, with fear. That hurt worse. I didn't yell. "I know you're not yelling, Clara." I sat across from her. For a minute, only Rain spoke. Then Mom reached into her cardigan pocket and slid folded paper across table. "I was going to tell you after dinner." My chest went cold. It was my bill and his receipt. Deposit paid. My name circled in blue pen. Under it, in Mom's careful handwriting, were numbers: food, tax, tip, cake, flowers, extra chairs. At bottom, one sentence. "Too much for Clara." I stared until letters blurred. "I found it in your folder when I was looking for choir photos," she whispered. "I'm sorry." Then Nolan said Marine a new place and wanted to cover everything. "He said you were relieved." My head lifted. "He said what?" Mom's eyes filled. "He said you tried to do something kind, but it had gotten bigger than you expected. That you didn't want to disappoint me." I heard my brother in it. Love. Reasonable. Concern polished until it looked like truth. "I never said that." Mom nodded too fast. "I know that now." "No, Mom. I never said any of it." She looked down at Clementine, naked and bright between us. "I thought I was helping you," she said. "You have children, work, mortgage. Your father's old hospital bills still come sometimes." I closed my eyes. There it was. Not betrayal. Not my mother choosing some elegant stranger over me. Worry. She had mistaken my planning for drowning. "I wanted to give you one thing," I said. "One night where you didn't have to shrink yourself." Her face crumpled. "I have spent my whole life trying not to cost my children too much." That sentence carried 30 years. I saw her cutting one pork chop into 3 pieces and saying she had eaten at school. Saw her sewing my recital hem at midnight, biting thread with tired teeth. Saw sacrifice become her whole personality because no one stopped her. Mom, I whispered, you are not expensive. She covered her eyes. I went around table and knelt beside her chair, careful of her bandaged heel. For once, she did not wave me away. Her hand found my hair. I didn't replace you, she said. I know, but I had not known until then. Then I remembered envelope on counter. Did you know invitation called Marina host? Mom's hand froze. No. Quiet word. Whole room changed. She reached for cream invitation unread it. Colored rained from her face. Oh, Clara. Not defensive. Wounded. She laid card flat like sheet music before performance and touched blue circle around my name on receipt. I want you dinner, she said. Belen is? If they'll still have me, they will, and no gallery. Her voice shook, then steadied. I want people laughing without wondering who paid for chandelier. I wiped my cheek with back of hand. Mom pushed my phone toward me. Call your brother. I will. No, she said, soft but firmer than I had heard in years. Call him while I'm sitting here. Nolan answered on the 4th ring with music and voices behind him, like he was somewhere brighter than our kitchen. Can this wait? He said. Mom closed her eyes. I put him on speaker and set the phone between Clementine peels and the invitation. No, I said. Mom is here. The noise on his end thinned. Aid or shut. What happened? Mom leaned toward the phone, hands folded in her lap. I had not seen her look that old in years. Not weak. Old. Like every favor she had accepted was being counted in front of her. Why does this invitation say Marina is hosting my retirement dinner? She asked. Nolan breathed out. It's not like that. Then say what it is like. He did not, for a few seconds. Only rain tapped the kitchen window and the dryer bumped unevenly in the hallway. My son shifted on the sofa, blankets lighting off one shoulder. I wanted to cover him, but I could not move. I thought it would be nicer. Nolan said, you deserve something big. Mom looked at me, and I saw pain cross her face, not because of the gallery, or the money, or the chandelier I had only heard about, because her son still thought bigger meant kinder. I deserve honesty, she said. His voice softened. I didn't want Clara stressed. She has so much going on. There it was again. A gentle sentence with a blade hidden under cloth. I almost spoke, but Mom lifted one finger. Small motion. Conductor's warning. Your sister was not stressed by loving me, she said. My throat burned. Nolan went quiet. Mom picked up a strip of clementine peel and wound it around her finger like orange ribbon. When you were 7, you broke Mrs. Helperness' window with the baseball. You came inside and told me before anyone knocked. Do you remember what I said? That telling the truth early makes the mess smaller, he muttered. Yes. Her voice trembled, then found center. Tell truth early, Nolan. He said nothing. I watched steam disappear from my untouched tea. The kitchen smelled like citrus, wet coats, and old wood. All the shine from that gallery felt far away, like weather over another town. Mom pushed the invitation toward me. Clara, she said. Tomorrow morning, call Balinese. I will. And if they lost the room, then we'll find another. No. She shook her head. Then we sit here. Paper plates are fine. Her eyes met mine, clear and tired. I am done being celebrated in rooms where I have to be grateful for being ignored. Nolan came before sunrise. I saw his car from the kitchen window, wipers moving though the rain had faded to mist. Mom was asleep on the sofa, one hand under her cheek. I grabbed my coat and stepped outside before the bell could wake her. Doctor? I said. We ended up in a pharmacy parking lot under buzzing lights. Wet asphalt shone gray. Nolan sat with a receipt twisted in his hand until the paper started to tear. I panicked, he said. That is not the truth. I said. That is weather. Say what happened. He stared at the steering wheel. Elisa's father thought Balinese was too small. My mother's favorite restaurant. I know. No, you know it's a dress. Rain tapped the roof. Nolan wiped his face with his sleeve. They wanted the families together, he said. Not an official engagement announcement. More like a first impression. Her parents, their foundation friends, some business people. Marina said she could make Mom's dinner look more appropriate. The word made something inside me go still. For your engagement, I said. He did not deny it. Everything clicked into place. Marina's velvet voice. The gallery, the engraved invitations, Mom trying to smile while apologizing for costing too much. My mother's retirement had been wrapped around someone else's entrance into rich people's rooms. You were going to use her as decoration. No, he said quickly. I love Mom. Then why was her night built for Elise's father? His face crumpled. For a second, he looked 12 again. Because they make me feel like I should be grateful they let me in, he whispered. Marina said she could make us look less messy. I repeated. He lowered his head. You told Mom I couldn't afford it. I told myself it was close enough. You have kids. Bills. I thought as she believed she was helping you. She'd accept. My hands went cold. You didn't protect me, I said. You borrowed my life to make your life sound kind. You made Mom feel expensive. You made me look resentful. And you handed her retirement to people who don't know one thing about her. He crushed the receipt in his fist. I'll fix it. Yes, I said. You will call Marina. Elise, her father. But first, you call Mom. You tell her you lied. Not panicked. Lied. His fingers shook as he opened his phone. Now, I looked at the pale morning beyond the glass. Now, I said. Early truth makes mess smaller. And this time, he called. I did not cancel the gallery with fireworks. I did not write messages I would regret. The next morning, I burned the edges of 2 quiches, borrowed folding chairs from Tess, and lined paper cups beside the old keyboard in my living room. By 10, Mom's former students stood shoulder to shoulder near the bookcase, holding groceries, store flowers, and shy smiles. My cousins brought fruit. Tess came with coffee, flushed cheeks, and no apology for calling half the town. Mom walked in wearing the blue sweater I had given her 3 Christmases ago. Oh, she said, stopping in the doorway. No chandelier, no valet, no silver name cards. Just people who knew her. A former student, now tall with a beard, sat at the keyboard. His fingers shook once, then found the first notes of the little song she used to teach children when they wanted to quit. Mom covered her mouth with a crumpled napkin. I stood behind her and held her shoulders. For once, she leaned back. Nolan came late. He stayed by the hall, quiet, eyes swollen. When Mom saw him, she did not punish him. She held out her hand. He crossed the room like a child forgiven but not excused. After everyone left, I found him rinsing paper plates we planned to throw away. I called Marina, he said. Gallery is cancelled, and Elise's family? They know Mom's retirement is not their announcement. I nodded. Good. She is not anyone's doorway. I know. No, I said, softer. You're learning. Outside, rain had stopped. Mom sat at the table, reading cards one by one, lips moving over every name. That was when I understood. Love did not need the biggest room. It needed the right people staying after the music ended.